Hello everyone, Philippator here, and welcome to another exciting episode of Total War Rome 2. I'm messing around with the N button, which I did not realize allowed you to go into these neat, these neat picturesque kind of views. But enough of that. I today am playing as Pyrrhus, and my opponent D-Dog is playing as the Romans. And while we're over here, we'll go over his army first. He has brought 4 legionary cavalry, 2 triarii, a vigiles as a speed bump unit, a general and bodyguard, and then a mix of evocati cohort, armored legionnaires, and principes. So very heavy, very cost-efficient infantry. I, on the other hand, have brought a more mixed bag. I've brought 2 Tarentine cavalry, 2 mercenary Italian cavalry, the other one's way over there. I have a mercenary Indian war elephant, my general is a royal peltist, I have 4 Agrianian axemen, 2 Illyrian levies, 2 mercenary Etruscan hoplites, 3 pikemen, and then a mercenary Samnite warrior. And the idea here, normally, I like to bring, say, a more compact army. This is a very diverse army with lots of different types of units, all of which have different strengths and weaknesses. Oh, let's see what he's saying. Oh, nothing special. The barbarians are a lot more fun. Anyways, so I don't want to be using my royal peltist general the same way as I would use these mercenary Etruscan hoplites. Say when I'm bringing a Carthaginian army, even though they have lots of different variety with all the different mercenaries, I'll typically bring, say, 6 heavy sword infantry, 4 supporting guys, 4 cavalry, all of the same type of again, just to make it simpler for me when I'm controlling the battle. I don't have to worry about my right flank being weaker than my left flank, or my center being weaker than my flanks, that sort of thing. But in this case, I was kind of just trying out different things. So what I have is I have a strong pike corps, and I'm going to use my royal peltist to throw javelins over my pikes, and then I'm going to actually use these Samnite warriors to engage the Romans from the front, and then the pikes will push their way through the Samnites and poke away the Romans. This is actually a tactic they used in the medieval period, not necessarily the game, but in real life. It's called the pike square. I have my Etruscan hoplites, not because they have great killing potential, but because they have great holding potential, and this will prevent my pikemen from getting flanked. I have got some Illyrian levies for the extra javelins. I didn't have enough money for more Agrianians, and I thought, well, these guys have javelins, how bad can it be? Obviously, my Italian cavalry, I needed some cavalry. My elephants are going to be the killing power. My Tarentines are really well if you know how to use skirmisher cavalry. I'm going to get in here and get some shots off into the back of these armored legionnaires, I think. Nope, I'm actually going to go and snipe the general. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Now, obviously, the Roman player does not want to take pikemen head-on, and these aren't even the levy pikemen. These are legit pikemen. Look at these guys. They have armor, they have shields, they have faces, they mean business. And so the Roman player has to micro his infantry around the pikemen, and constantly be checking to make sure that my pikes are not getting at them. So, first charge of the day comes between these Italian cavalry and legionary cavalry. My opponent gets this legionary cavalry in against my Agrianians, who are targeting the triarii. Fortunately, my Agrianians are actually going to be pretty effective in melee, and they're going to lose about 30 men, but between these other axemen throwing javelins and these hoplites coming in, the legionary cavalry is going to get chased away. General was getting targeted by the Tarentines, and so the general is simply going to pull away. Meanwhile, I'm going to target, I believe, these legionary cavalry. And now here comes the fight in the middle. My pikemen are pushing up through the trees, trying to get at these Roman infantry. The Romans are attacking my mercenary Samnite warriors, and they don't have the best firing angle, so there's going to be a lot of friendly fire on the Vigiles. And there we are. Here comes the poking. Poke. Poke, poke. Poking is going to be the theme of this battle. In the meantime, sorry I missed it. I have my Agrianians over here, firing into the evocati cohort. I actually tried to charge my elephants while these infantry were bogged down by the Etruscan hoplites. It didn't end so well. The Romans were able to brace and drive my elephants away. My elephants next went into the triarii, and then into these principes, but they are now routing. Well, they're not routing, they're, okay, they're there. They are back from running amok. They got about 100 kills, that's respectable. But not nearly what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to break this entire flank, and it's simply not going to happen. There we are. This unit of Agrionians, they're down to about half strength, but they were able to survive the cavalry charge. There's all the dead cavalry. Let's see. Yep, all the dead horses. And now my Etruscan hoplites are going to join the fight here. The general of the Romans has been sniped. And now it looks like, yeah. So here's again. My Samnites are actually engaging the Principes, but it's the pikemen that are coming through and poking the Principes away, making sure that my Samnites stay alive. More fighting here on the left flank. My elephants are back from routing. Nope, there they are, out of control again. But they're going to go out of control into the armored legionnaires, get a few more kills, but they're going to die shortly. Evocati cohort chasing away Agriani and Axemen. Probably not the best use of them. Oh, poor elephants. However, this unit of pikemen and my royal peltists are now able to come in here on the left side. I've pushed through on the center, and now it's again simply a matter of, can the Roman out-micro my pikes? Say in this case he didn't manage to. But in this case, we have Principes going up against levies and Agriani and Axemen, and that's going to go really well for the Principes. Let's see. Even though, like I said, the Agrianians are pretty good in melee. Over here come the pikemen to help reinforce. These Etruscan hoplites are holding against 3 units of Roman infantry. I'm going to get a charge off on these Triarii. It's not going to go so well. And this is a critical moment of the battle. My Tarentine cavalry are actually going to lead the legionary cavalry all the way, literally to the far corner of the map. And the Roman cavalry is not going to be able to participate in this infantry battle. Whereas I still have my own Italian cavalry, even though they're fairly depleted. But it allows me that extra little bit of mobility. A few more dead Romans being poked there. These Principes were not microed away, and they were going to rout. And now the pikemen can come back and join the rest of the fight. This unit of Tarentines I peeled away from the legionary cavalry, and I'm going to use them to get hammer charges, using my Royal Peltis General as an anvil. And these Evocati cohort are eventually going to die. Levies are routing, but they'll actually come back. My Etruscan hoplites are also going to rout, but they will also come back. And remember, as I said, the Roman has to pull away from these pikemen, keep out of the range of the pikes, keep his men alive. And in this case, I'm throwing in my Agrianians. They're going to lose horribly, but it's going to stall the Roman infantry long enough for my pikemen to get a few kills on the backs of them. Another cavalry charge coming in from off screen. Let's watch from this direction. And there we are. Poke. Poke, poke. Poke, 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 poke. So again, not a whole lot of kills, and they're not killing them very quickly, but the kills are happening. And while the Romans get bogged down fighting these weaker units, my pikemen are able to come in and do some damage. Tarentine cavalry, again, hammering onto the armored legionnaires. Where are they? Evocati cohort, and... yep, more Evocati cohort. However, I realize that a drag-out fight against armored legionnaires is not what I want, so I'm going to pull my men back, get them back into position, charge again. Let's see, are they going to get a charge off? Alright, they're going this direction. Cavalry gets a charge off on the armored legionnaires. Nice. Very nice. And then my royal peltists are going to come in to finish them off. And so now we have 3 different things trying to happen. On the one hand, my general needs to finish this fight on the left and get back into the battle. 2, on the right, the Roman player needs to out-micro my out-micro the pikes and keep his men from dying. You know, these Triarii, they almost got sandwiched, but not quite. And then 3, the Roman needs to get his legionary cavalry back into the field in order to sway the fight in his favor. Now granted, his legionary cavalry are going to be exhausted. They will be slow. Their charges will be ineffective. But if the legionary cavalry is able to get into the back of the pikemen, it's going to end really badly for me. More poking, more rear charges. I think it's almost the end of these Triarii. Mercenary Italian cavalry at 5 men, they rout. I believe these 15 men, they're now exhausted. They're going to threaten to rout, but the armored legionnaires have finally routed, I'm going to bring my left flank over here, reinforce these Italian cavalry, and keep them in the fight. Once they see some friends coming their way, they are going to feel much better and will stay in the engagement. Pikemen are reforming, along with my Etruscan hoplites. Nope, those Triarii stayed alive. And here's again something great for me. These Samnite warriors, yes, they're losing decisively, yes, they're wavering, yes, they are very tired, but they are still holding. And I don't know what convinced these Samnite warriors that they should continue to hold. I mean, I'm really not that mean a general. If they had left, it probably would have been fine. And so there they are. They're finally able to rout, but it's long enough that my Etruscan hoplites and my pikemen are able to get into position. His infantry had to blob up in order to kill off the Samnites. And yeah, now my pikemen are simply going to come in and start poking. And he's going to, again, his infantry is going to get stuck on these Etruscan hoplites. So, boink. Bringing pikes down right on the top of that guy's head. Again, not a whole lot of kills on the pikes, but the pikes are also not dying. That's the point. These guys are not killing machines, they are excellent holding machines. Cavalry's finally gotten back into the battle. Legionary cavalry, they're exhausted, their general is dead, they're starting to waver. My Agrianians are going to get in the way of the legionary cavalry when the charge eventually happens. And now the Roman infantry is starting to rout. Let's see, Triarii are gone. Excellent. Now it's simply 2 units of infantry and 2 units of cavalry. As I mentioned, the legionary cavalry are going to do a last-ditch charge against the Agrianians. And watch what happens here. This is kind of interesting. So the cavalry comes in, and then they quickly run away, and then all of my Agrianians stand up. None of them died on the charge. And I wonder if it's because of the way the charge works, and that the charge bonus isn't applied until after the first 10 seconds or so, or if it's simply because because the legionary cavalry were exhausted, my Agrianians not so much, and so they simply withstood the charge as if, say, a hoplite unit would. The legionary cavalry is chasing my Tarentine cav. They're going to chase them into my Royal Peltis. Still have 100 men on these Royal Peltis, popping second wind to keep them fresh. Legionary cav are going to rout. Principes are getting blocked by the pikemen. And this unit of pikemen, I don't know what these idiots were doing, but they're facing the wrong direction. And at this point, I'm getting ready to scream it on my computer, because I'm still convinced my opponent has a chance. Agrianians coming in to help defend the flanks of the pikemen, but I don't like that engagement as is, and so I pull my pikemen back. Legionary cavalry break. My own cavalry gets around the side. Royal Peltis come in against the Principes. Cavalry comes in against the Principes. These guys are going to rout. And that's going to be all she wrote. I guess we can just go in and watch the fighting happen. This angle. There we go. It's all nice. It's all about how the sun looks, that sort of a thing. It's a shame I'm still getting sword animations with the axemen. I don't know quite why that is. Another cavalry charge, and my opponent routs. So, great game to my opponent. Let's take a look at how everybody did. My elephants, even though I threw them away, got 211 kills. My Royal Peltis General, 159 kills. Great job there. This unit of Tarentines that was running hammer and anvil charges did a fantastic job. My Agrianians, for the most part, these guys could be a little more desired, but for the most part doing a fantastic job. My Illyrian levies, horribly disappointed in these guys. I am never ever bringing them again. My Etruscan hoplites did not get a whole bunch of kills, but they were able to hold the Roman infantry long enough for my pikemen to get in and do some damage. And look at that, 119 and 131 kills on pikemen, as well as 136 kills with Samnite warriors. This is a fantastic job from all 3 of these units. In the meantime, my Roman opponent, his infantry also did really well. But you have to remember, this Evocati cohort getting 137 kills on Agrianians and Illyrian levies is nowhere near the same as these pikemen getting 131 kills on armored legionnaires and Evocati. And then you have the few units, say this unit of legionary cav, the general, this Principes, the few units that simply didn't do a whole lot for my opponent. And again, when you compare Illyrian levies that sucked with Triarii that sucked, my opponent is losing out a lot more on his army. So, great game to my opponent. It was very nice to see the micro, to see the effort put into trying to keep his infantry alive, trying to outmaneuver my pikes. Obviously, a Pyrrhic victory. Ha ha ha. King Royal Peltostier is not going to be able to continue the invasion of Italy. He is going to have to retreat back and get reinforcements, just like what happened in real life. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I certainly enjoyed playing this, and I will see you in the next one.